Well, hello everyone and welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. You all know about the beauty pageant and the pain it causes so many people. And the pain is not just going through the process, getting yourself ready, getting yourself fit. There's also the pain of doing the fundraising to support yourself so you could get qualified for this. My guest will just be telling us about her own journey as someone who lives in West Africa, Sierra Leone, the difficulty and challenges of encouraging people to invest in her own beauty, in her own taking on the spot to do this beauty pageant. Very difficult. She also will be telling us about the journey, why she decided to do this, what this platform has created for her, and also the opportunities that lies in her country after suffering devastating war many years ago. I'm so excited to talk to my guest. Stella is a famous Sierra Leone that represented her country in the Miss ECOWAS beauty pageant and Miss University Africa. Let's talk to her, understand her journey and why she feels it's very important to raise awareness for breast cancer sufferers and survivors. Meet my guest, Stella. Well, hello everyone and welcome again to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. We'll be talking to a beauty pageant who is putting a spotlight in Africa. As you know, she's from Sierra Leone, as I said in my introduction, and she'll be telling us about her own journey of overcoming pain to be where she is today. I hope you enjoy this conversation as we share her wonderful country and her own inspiration. How are you, Stella?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Anne, for having me once again.
Oh yeah.
An amazing work. I can't overstate it. You're doing an amazing work, and thanks for spotlighting and highlighting those stories that are worth telling. Like I said, you never know who needs to hear that particular conversation, just to sort of be inspired that if this person can go through that and overcome that, then I as well can do it. So thank you so much for the amazing work. It's not easy, I know, but thanks so much for doing the amazing work you're doing. And I'm so humbled. I'm humbled to be, one of your guests on your show today.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. So, everyone might be asking, where is Sierra Leone in this part of the world? I know where it is as a girl from Africa. I know her from Nigeria. I know where Sierra Leone is. I've actually almost touched there. I don't think I visited in the end. But could you just tell us a little bit about your country, your beautiful Sierra Leone?
Absolutely. So Sierra Leone is located in West Africa, but and you have Liberia and Guinea as our sisters, neighboring countries. So for people who don't know and trying to figure out, it's right in the middle. Guinea on the other one side, and then you've got Liberia on the other side. A lot of people know Sierra Leone for really the wrong reasons. We had a decade-long civil war that ended a couple of years ago, and then just as a country just trying to put itself together. Then Ebola happened. So, Ebola hit Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia really, really hard in West Africa. So a lot of people, again, for the wrong reasons, got to hear about Sierra Leone. And again, not too long ago, sometime in 2017, we had a really devastating mudslide that killed a number of people. Unfortunately, we've just been in the limelight for the very wrong reasons. But Sierra Leone is a really small country, really beautiful, endowed. We've got amazing people. I have people who come to Sierra Leone for the first time, and they tell me and tell people around that, they've never felt really very welcomed in any country as they have been in Sierra Leone. So we're very warm, loving people. We are very open. It's a very small country, about 7+ million people. One of the few countries that have so many wealth. We are known for our diamonds. We're known for gold, bauxite. We've got some of the huge or biggest reserve in some of these minerals. But as you know, very unique, very, very common to the African story. You always have issues of corruption, mismanagement, and then you would see sheer poverty around. So that's not such a difference to Sierra Leone. But in all this, we are very strong, resilient people, and we always rise above whatever nature
Absolutely.
and life throws at us. So for those who haven't visited Sierra Leone, I'll tell you, it's one of the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful destinations that you can ever think about. You just need to Google Sierra Leone, and you know, we have some of the most beautiful, prime, pristine beaches in the world. And you have a lot of people just coming to just visit. You know, we've got wildlife, you know, we've got some really rare species, we've got, you know, ecotourism. There's just so much going in Sierra Leone that a lot of people don't know. But, you know, we're just trying to get people to understand that Sierra Leone is open. It's not about war. It's not about Ebola. I mean, the world right now is dealing with COVID, but Sierra Leone has been able to do a really fantastic job with containing the COVID. You know, although we are in the third wave, but we're doing so. The government and the people of Sierra Leone have done such an amazing work in just containing it. So make Sierra Leone your next destination point. You would not regret it.
I love that. I love the way you really sold Sierra Leone, because I think not many people know about Africa, so even the bigger continent, but not even the little countries around it in Africa. A lot of people don't tend to know. They know the big ones. They know Ghana. They know Nigeria, Senegal. You know, the South Africa and the Kenya. But when it comes to the little countries, people are still a little bit shy. But I think you sold it marvelously well about Sierra Leone. I think this is where that leads me to my real question is that, in a few words, Stella, just describe yourself. Who are you?
Stella is, I always just love to put it simply, lover of life's little gifts. I think that sort of exemplifies, just sort of tells my story. I mean, of course, I didn't really live in Sierra Leone because of the war. You know, the war displaced a lot of people. So I lived in a couple of places, you know, around Africa, mainly Nigeria, and then a few other places as well, again, due to the war. But I obviously came back after the war, just like every other Sierra Leonean living out of Sierra Leone, came back and just decided I wanted to contribute. But then again, I got my family here. So it wasn't really much of an option. But I did come back. I went to the university, but in between that time, you know, I was in between thinking about, okay, do I want to get a job? Do I want to go to the university? Because I'd been reading a lot of motivational books that tells you can be a millionaire without going to school. And I think I went through that phase. But before actually going to the university, I got a job thanks to one of my aunts. And you know, I always tell people it's always very important that you don't just pick a job because of, you know, the pay, but also think about the culture, the environment, and most importantly, the boss who you would end up working with. And I'm going to say I really had a fantastic boss right around that time. And, you know, for some reason, I mean, I always had the idea that I wanted to either go into business or do law or read law in the university. But for some reason, he was like, oh, you gotta try the radio. You would do amazingly well. You got the personality. And he just went on and on and on, which is very rare for a boss to sort of identify something in you and say you should go for it. But anyway, long story short, I tried out in one of the biggest radio stations then. And don't forget, this is just me with my high school certificate, no clue, never thought of ever being in the media. And I went and I got the job and I started on the job training. That's how I really got into media. So right around that time, I still wasn't in the university. So I got into the University of Sierra Leone, and I read business administration. And in between that time, you know, what we always fail to realize is that the universe would always align itself to bring us to our purpose and bring us to where we need to be, even if we haven't found our path and we don't know what we really want to do. So I was in a point in my university, I think probably my second or third year, and I was going through something. I can't remember what it was, but it was really, really, it really got to me. I think I was probably getting into some sort of depression. You know, I really was going through something really, really personal. And I had a friend of mine right around that time was like, okay, you know what, come try it for university pageant, go represent the university. And I've never thought of that. I've never ever thought that I would ever go into it. But because of my frame of mind and the fact that I needed to do something really different just to get my mind off what I was going through at that moment, I went for it. And I went and I was just so clueless. I was on the stage and I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here? But yeah, I did it, and I think I came either first runner-up or second runner-up, and that was just it. And I said to myself that was the last time I was ever going to do it. But again, I got into another one, and before I knew it, I was representing Sierra Leone. And the very last representation I did it was in 2012 for Miss West Africa, and I was Miss West Africa International, second runner-up. And so with that, sort of platform that it gave me, and the fact that I'd been on radio for quite a while, and I had a voice that a number of people were beginning to relate to, I picked something very personal to me because my grandmother died out of cancer, and so it was something I could really relate to. So I had a NGO that I partnered with, the Thinking Pink Breast Cancer Foundation. And this is very personal.
So I'm going to get into all of that later.
Okay.
But I just wanted to understand, I wanted to understand the journey. So I can stop you there. You decided to go into this pageant thing, not realizing it.
Yeah.
In where you're from, do you think there's an encouragement for women to go into pageant, or do you think there's support, and does it help? Is there any help for women?
Right around the time I got in, one of the reasons why I also never thought of going into pageantry was the fact that it was deemed for dropouts, for girls who were loose, and people who had no focus, who just didn't know what they wanted. So me coming in there with my personality as a radio broadcaster, I think it sort of brought some sort of seriousness, and it got people to pause and think, okay, maybe this may not be the case. But it was a really tough journey. Coming from Sierra Leone, it's a very rich country, but yet still quite poor. You have a lot of priorities in different areas, in terms of the government's priority. They're trying to figure out how to get a hand on health, on just providing the basic social amenities. So really, there's never that focus on entertainment, on arts and creatives and things like this. So obviously, it means that that's a field or a sector or an area that is always neglected. And coming out of war and having to go through that, you have businesses people are just trying to put their lives together. And so you don't have a really strong or big private sector who feels that, okay, this is an area that we can sponsor and we can provide support. So I really did struggle. You have, obviously when you go for sponsorship to corporate institutions and you're a young girl, and you know how it is with men. They, the conversation just goes from 0 to 10. And they're talking about business, and then they're talking about something else, and they want to lay you. So you always have that problem. But I think I was actually very blessed. I had family members. I had support from some friends, from family members. And I remember getting my very first big sponsorship from a mobile company. And that for me was a big game changer. And that was when I went for my very first international pageant, Miss University Africa. And I got the support, and it was all over the news. And obviously a lot of people were surprised, because you don't have individuals going on such an occasion or an event having such a sponsorship. And it was a really huge one, and it supported me in being able to represent Sierra Leone. Going back from that time, 2010 to now, it has really changed. There's a lot more support. It's now a lot more professional. You have more respect, do you understand? So it's still a long journey, but we are getting there gradually. But again, it's always a problem. It's a challenge for women in general, anywhere in the world, to just sort of make it through, because there's always like 1,000,001 reasons why women can't and shouldn't succeed. There's always that barrier, especially in Africa, when poverty, and you have, this culture that just sort of gives men the space, the freedom, the ability to be able to do things and just own the space, and women are always marginalized. So it's always still the case for women in Africa. Sierra Leone is not different, but there's been a lot of push, a lot of advancement, even on the political side. The push continues. to get
No,
more
I
women
think
in
you're right.
power.
It's so difficult for a lot of women. I mean, that's when I saw you did the pageant, I was like, that must be amazing, but at the same time,
Yeah.
so challenging. And so a lot of
It
things that people don't
was.
see be behind the scene.
It
On your way
was.
to becoming Miss West Africa in 2011 or 12,
Yeah.
was that a difficult journey to get? What was the preparation like in getting yourself ready for a pageant like that?
Ooh, it was difficult. I tell you, it was difficult from trying to figure out how to get my costumes, how to get the money to travel, how to just, go through my talent, because there's a huge cost implication. And you have, like I said, government having like so many competing priorities. So the resource, the extra money for them to say, okay, this person is going to represent the country as a country, this is what we're going to provide or support with, it just wasn't there. So the challenge was just enormous. I remember even having a fundraising event, which helped. You had a number of people who came and they donated a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so I was just able to put my costumes and put things together, but it was a challenge. Like I said, going to corporate institutions, trying to get sponsorship. And, I always dread when it's a man, because I know that the conversation 9 out of 10 always just sort of deviates from the reason why I'm there. And all they just see is a young girl who is into pageantry in a field where they assume that all the women are loose. You understand? So the conversation always tend to just deviate from the reasons why you're there. So most times I sort of shied away from approaching corporate institutions, especially with my very first experience having to represent Sierra Leone in Miss University Africa. And I remember 2010, there's this man, he had a really big company, and I approached him. I was like, hey, I'm going to represent Sierra Leone, look at my proposal. I'm going there with a really nice fancy proposal. And the man looks at me and says, if you want me to help you, you know what to do. And I paused. And, for me, never in my life has someone been so
Direct.
Exactly. So
Direct.
basically,
That
I
is
need to
direct.
sleep with you for me. And this is me representing feet of people. And I did. And I must say, again, there's just this grace. Oh God, I believe in Jesus Christ. And I believe in miracles. And I believe he showed up. He showed up. And a lot of the things happened at the very last minute, because there were times I was like, oh my God, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think I'm going to go. And at the very last minute, tickets started coming out. The dresses started getting put together. Talents, it was a struggle. But you know what? I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for that, because most times as human beings, we always pray not to go through challenges and go through the pain and the struggles, but we fail to realize that it is those struggles that make us a better person. They make us stronger, more resilient, and they prepare us for the amazing things that are about to come. Because if you don't have that strength and capacity and experience, you would not be able to handle the next level, or the next phase of your life. And I'm so thankful that I've had to go through all those experiences. And now I can understand when other women come and they say, hey, this is what I'm going through, and this is what is being thrown at me. I understand, because I went through that. I went through that, especially in Africa, where poverty is so rife, and you have families, and everyone in the family has to contribute, no matter how young you are, no matter if you're a girl or a boy, you have to contribute. And for women, what's the easiest way? It's just basically to sell yourself to the men to make money. So and you see women. So I've gotten to a point where I don't judge people, because you don't know their story. A lot of people would never do what they're doing today if they had better options and they had better support system. So, and I think that's also what I try to do with the work that I'm doing, the voice that I have, because from radio, I've also been able to transition to TV. And I always talk about that. I always put out inspirational messages just to inspire people and let them know that, hey, you're going through this, but it's just only a matter of time. And it's only building you up for a better tomorrow.
Absolutely. So, Stella, I see that
Yeah.
you have got this opportunity. You have, and this has given you a great platform. For other girls who are less fortunate, I think you've touched on this. For young ladies who are out there, do you think being in a beauty pageant will actually can help somebody to be a better person, can help someone enrich their family, can help someone, do better in life? Do you think it helps people who are from less privileged background to become something in life?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, the good thing for me, I got into pageantry knowing myself, knowing who I am, knowing what I will take and not take, just knowing that I can do it if I put my mind to it. You have a lot of young people who go into pageantry just because it's for them like the easiest way out. And so you find that those people, it's so easy for them to be taken advantage of. But it's actually one of the best. I would advise a woman who wants to go into pageantry, and I'll tell you, yes, please go for it, but go for it for the right reasons, because it will give you so much. It opens so much. It opens so many doors you wouldn't believe. Do you understand? It provides you a platform. It gives you a voice. Do you understand? And you go to places, and I remember during my reign, I would wear my crown. I would go to some of the, I would go to some orphanage homes, and I just see the kids, and you see how they're so drawn to me. And I realized that for them, they are seeing someone and seeing something that they can also be in the future, if they put their heart and mind to it. So absolutely, it provides you a platform. It gives you a voice. It gives you some sort of relevance, which if you're able to handle properly, manage properly, you can be able to, make meaningful impact in your society. You're able to carry out projects and run with any platform that can, impact lives. And, you use your crown. Like I said, it wasn't easy back then, but now it's a lot easier. You have a lot more, credible institutions holding and organizing pageant events. Back then, any Tom, Dick, and Harry could just wake up and say, hey, I want to do a pageant show. And, you have the women have to struggle to just get the basics done. But now it's a lot more, it's a lot more better. Do you understand? So you have institutions, credible institutions organizing this event and supporting the women, through their reign in whatever platform or cause that they want to just basically put their heart into. So absolutely, it's a great opportunity for you to just be able to do, have an impact in your society, in your community. And it's also a good opportunity for you to start community work, because it's all about selfless service, pageantry in the end. In as much as you get a little bit of freebies and you get some gifts and you get some accolades and recognition, but it's actually the core is the community work and impact that you're able to, provide to people. So absolutely, it's actually very life-changing, especially if you live in a more advanced country where there are a lot of more pecs to, to the range, Yeah.
That's good. Now, my final question to you will be, you chose a charity to do your work and your focus is breast cancer. And I was thinking, why breast cancer? Why did you want to, really go out there and help people who are going through that difficult challenge and that pain?
Yeah.
Why did you choose that organization?
So my grandmother died from cancer. It wasn't breast cancer. So she had an extraction. Wow. One of her tooth. What happened, what didn't happen, and before you know it, it turned into it became cancerous. And one thing people don't realize is having to deal with cancer is not just about the victim or the patient. Every family member is also affected by that, by that disease. So when I got into pageantry and I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? I mean, what would be my community work, my service to humanity? And, just coincidentally, I met a woman, Miss Cremelda Parkinson, and we sort of gelled together. And for her, she also comes from a very personal space, because her mother died of breast cancer. And I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can relate. My grandmother died of cancer, but it wasn't breast cancer. And I was like, okay, so I mean, I think this is something that I can actually raise awareness on. And, getting into it, it became a lot bigger than I thought. Unfortunately, in Sierra Leone, there are no healthcare options for breast cancer, unfortunately. So you have a lot of women and even men as well having to deal with this health challenge. And the only option they have is going out of Sierra Leone. Wow. For a country as poor as Sierra Leone, where a lot of people live under $1, what are the survival options for this woman? So you come and you see women and you know that there is no hope for this woman because she cannot afford to even buy tamoxifen, which is so cheap for a number of people, but so expensive for this group of people. And you have instances where they need chemotherapy, they need radiotherapy, and we don't have that in Sierra Leone. So it was now like, okay, I need to raise awareness, because even the awareness wasn't there. A lot of women, we live in a very, very cultural and very, closed society where things happen and they begin to tell you, oh, it's witchcraft, or it's something that happened. And then you hear some sort of myth, they tell you like, oh, when your baby, if you're breastfeeding and your baby bops on your breast, then you have a lump. And then, so you find that they go through so many traditional means trying to deal with breast cancer until it gets to a stage where it's just death. And the numbers, unfortunately, are high. A number of them are unreported, and we don't have the facilities. It's just now that people, with all the noise that we're making with other breast cancer organizations across Sierra Leone, that government now is paying attention. Now there is the move by government to provide a diagnostic center, which obviously we haven't. That's in progress. But it's still a long way off. And we're hoping as well that there's going to be a cancer unit there. As a country, we didn't really have a proper cancer registry to even say, okay, this person is dying out of cancer. So, for me, it was really personal, and I just needed to raise awareness. Gone are the days when you see cancer, breast cancer, and you're thinking, okay, they tell you when you get to age 40, 45, you need to start, paying attention to yourself. You need to go for your mammogram. I've seen kids as young as 5 dealing with breast cancer, and you begin to question what is going on. And then you have parents who have no clue, absolutely no clue what they're dealing with. And they sit at home and they try to deal with it the traditional way. And they then go to the traditional healers, and it only just sort of aggravates the whole situation. And many a times when eventually some of these women do come to the facility, they come at the latter stage where there is no hope. And, the only thing you can only just tell them now is just, you tell the family that, go home, this person is going to die. There's nothing we can do for them. So for me, having to witness that and see that and just know that, the pain and the struggle is real. Mm-hmm. I decided, okay, this is something I'm going to really push. And thankfully, the organization that I'm partnering with, Thinking Pink Breast Cancer Foundation, they have just been so relentless. I know that we've done a couple of marathons in Sierra Leone, which has been quite successful, and it has raised awareness. And so every now and then you have women and even men accessing the facility, and they tell you, oh, I heard about Thinking Pink on the radio, on the TV. I saw an interview, I saw a flyer, and they are now accessing the facility. Some of them still coming at the latter stage, but you have a lot of women who tell you, oh, I felt something, I don't know what it is, but I just decided to come. So this, we're still a long way away from getting it, but I can tell you that we have started the journey. The awareness is gradually getting there. We still have a lot of work to do. The treatment options in Sierra Leone is still very, very limited. The last thing you want to do is get ill in Sierra Leone. I know that the government is doing so much, but you know what? There's only so much they can do, because this is something that has happened. When you have neglect in the sector for over a decade, you
Sure.
It's not something that can be rectified overnight. You know, you live in a country where, I mean, a few years ago, we had just only one mental health doctor. That's how terrible it was. Now we have probably about 3 or 4. I don't know if we have a neurosurgeon in Sierra Leone. I don't know. I mean, I can tell you so
It
many
just means that things need to improve, and the
it
more
needs
people
to
like yourself,
improve.
yeah.
It needs to improve.
Think
And
about it, Stella. The more people like yourself keep talking
yeah,
about it, I think utilizing your platform to advocate what
yeah,
the country is all about. I think this is something you've done showcase so well. Why is it important more people come to your country, and also why is it important that the government keep reinvesting into critical areas? And already they're doing, great job. But obviously, more still needs to be done for the
mom.
people and to encourage and uplift women out there. And I'm so amazed I talked to you today because you have shined a critical light on this subject, and also you've also taught and made giving hope to girls out there, young ladies who are thinking of joining the pageant but still scared from their parents and saying, no, you shouldn't do it, I want you to be a doctor. You're saying,
Yeah.
actually, if you do this route, you can still be a doctor, but this also opens creates massive opportunity. Any final words from yourself before we say goodbye?
Oh God, I can go on. What do I want to say? I just want to say to anyone out there watching, you know, no matter what it is you may be going through, I need you to hang in there. Hang in there, because you know what? It is making you a better person. You know, life would always align itself and you would always find your destination. But you know what? You cannot be the next CEO or the next business mogul or the next millionaire if you don't have a certain capacity or certain experience. Because you know what? If you have such an opportunity thrown at you, you would make a total mess of it. So you need to go through that challenge. You need to be able to fight through, because in the end, it is those experiences that is going to make you be able to manage the next big opportunity that you have at your footstool. So it's not, you know, life in itself is not easy. It's not easy for anyone. There's, you know, you hear the word born with a silver spoon, but I don't always believe that, because every person in life have their own struggle and their own challenge that they're going through. So you have to hang in there, believe in yourself, fight for what you want, what you believe in, and it's not going to be handed on to you on a platter of gold. No, you've got to fight for it. There are lots of people who will not believe in your journey. They will not believe in your story. But that's all the more reason why you have to work very hard to succeed. Because you know what? The best way to get at your enemy is to show them your success. Because you know what? They become the vuvuzulas who will tell your story. So you have to hang in there, because also your success eventually is somebody's breakthrough is hinging on your success. So you can't give up now. You've got to keep fighting. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's very good. Well, thank you so much, Stella, for this amazing
Thank you
conversation.
so much, Anne.
I wish you all the best with everything you do, and keep shining light on Africa, Sierra Leone, West Africa. Please keep doing that, because we need more voices and more beautiful women like yourself to keep that positiveness, that there is hope, no matter what challenge anyone is going through. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Anne, once again, for the amazing work you're doing. Thanks for having me. And I can't wait to keep watching more of the amazing life-changing conversations that you keep having all around the world, but from people from various places, different walks of life. Thank you so much. It's just amazing. Like I said, you don't know who needs to hear that story at that point in time, to be able to get up and just push one more day. So thank you so much for the work you're doing, Anne.
You're most welcome. Thank you.